Now I'd like to introduce Susan Hunt, fourth period with Maria. That sounds interesting. Susan?
Just as background to this story, I was a high school teacher for over 30 years. I went down just to say a few words. I had been away the previous week, so I hadn't had a chance to speak to her. Her small English as a second language classroom stuck behind the outdoor basketball court was a long way from mine. I didn't know if she'd be there, but as I approached, I saw her coming toward me. I didn't know what I'd say. She looked sad, of course, but she reached out to me. I put my arms around her. "I can only imagine what you're going through," I said. "I wanted you to be his English teacher next year. He was such a good writer." She seemed to want to talk, so we went to her classroom. "It was last Tuesday," she said. "I wondered what Luis was doing. He had seemed moody lately, so I went to check on him. The door to his room was closed, so I knocked. When there was no response, I opened the door and saw him. I screamed and called out to my daughter. She came in the room and ran over to Luis and tried to get the belt loosened, but it was too late. We could not revive him. That belt had served as his noose. We called an ambulance, but the paramedics could do nothing. My husband was away, so Melissa and I faced this horror by ourselves." She paused as if unable to believe the story she was telling me. "His body has already been cremated." She looked up, her face streaked with tears. "People wonder why I have come back to school so soon. But I can't be at home by myself. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning and my last thought at night. I see his life going by in my mind. A little boy running, learning to play the bass, drawing, painting, writing poems. He was so talented." We talked of Luis. He had recently applied for a summer study program. His application letter was full of plans for the future. He was troubled by the lack of love in the world. His mother said he had seemed sad recently, and he had been sleeping a lot. She had mentioned that she might make an appointment for him with a psychologist over the Easter break. He said that might be okay. No one would have expected this terrible conclusion. Such events happen on TV and in the movies. You read about them in the newspapers. But this was here, my school. This was now. I was talking to a woman whose son had taken his own life 6 days ago. "I found his 9th grade portfolio," she said. He had a poem in which he talked about wanting to disintegrate into a pile of dust and let the wind blow me away. And that's what happened. That's what we did with his ashes. I kept watching those grieving eyes as she talked. But he wasn't sad all the time. He was in a band. He was an artist. He did well in school without even studying very much. He was making plans for the summer. I don't think he planned to kill himself. "I don't think he planned to kill himself either," I agreed. I searched for a way to ease her suffering, though it seemed so profound I did not know if words could help. Luis may have been experimenting with sensation, and it got away from him. An accident. If he had thought about it, he would have realized that he would cause a great deal of pain for those who loved him. Lots of teenagers talk about violence and even suicide. They're expressing frustration or dejection or any of a multitude of human afflictions that they have not yet learned to deal with. It wasn't anybody's fault, I realized that, she said. But now when I look at his drawings, I see such darkness. He has images of clenched fists, of people facing walls, of frustration. Do art teachers see this kind of work all the time? When I read the stories and poems in his portfolio, she continued, I wondered how often teachers see writing like this. Shouldn't his teacher have noticed? Yes, teachers should notice. Maybe it would have helped. I don't know. I paused and looked directly into her sad, sad eyes. What I know is that this thing has happened and you are suffering. I wish I could do something for you. I can't say that I know what it feels like. I don't. But I have a son, away at college now. His existence has taught me a new dimension of love. Emotional, protective, sweet. Just thinking of his light blue eyes makes me smile. I still fear that someday I might get a phone call and to say that something has happened to him. And then words failed me. The bell rang, the end of fourth period. We both had fifth period classes.
Thank you to these companies and organizations that make the Before I Die New Mexico Festival possible. A good goodbye. Gail Rubin puts the fun in funeral planning. Compassion and choices, improving care, expanding options, and empowering everyone to chart their end-of-life journey. Daniel's Family Funerals and Cremations, Fairview Memorial Park, Gabaldon Mortuary, Sandia Memory Gardens, and Vista Verde Memorial Park, all in the Albuquerque area. Estate Pros, offering professional dispersal of personal possessions due to a move, illness, or death. The Final Exit Network, educating about and defending the right to choose at end of life. French Funerals and Cremations and Sunset Memorial Park in Albuquerque. Gathering Us, providing in-person and virtual memorial services and online memorial pages. Keeper, providing hybrid and virtual memorial services and keeping memories alive with online tributes to preserve, celebrate, and share life legacies. Morris Hall, estate planning attorneys in New Mexico and Arizona. Remembering a Life, your guide to honoring a life well lived, from planning a tribute to mourning a loved one. And Retirement Extender, investment management services with a personalized strategy recommendation based on your needs and objectives.